for those of you who are new to this, and welcome, we have had a game collected through the subconscious and then conscious filter of Jonathan Mark Hicks, who is known very well to this channel for any number of reasons, most of all for Those Dark Places. And he has written the foundations of this game, which we took and built upon a giant, massive, great big space opera. Massive, huge, great big space aeon spanning thing that we've written. And we did a session in was it Bookcase? Is that what it was called?
Microscope,
the other thing that you used to look at really close up. Microscope.
It's easy to confuse the two.
I hope you watch
both do similar
and
jobs.
it comes up with a follow-up system called Bookcase. You're generating a series of books along a shelf.
You know, so we used Microscope to lay out some of the longer cut and thrust of this campaign, and we were the basic premise of it is that we deal with this absolute power, galactic power called the Infinite, who have got the ability to see into the future, which is obviously pretty handy. They also can read minds to a degree, which is also very handy. They have great wealth, massive resources, and the technology that we have isn't evenly spread across the planets at all. It's very, very much at the top of the tree are their preferred, their prefect, and such, and yeah, the basically the Sunburners are their shock elite troops, and yeah, they've got planets. The Infinite controls 1,000 Emperors. The Imperials control the sectors of space, which can be up to 10,000 worlds. The Sovereigns control the entire star systems. Then the Prefects control the worlds, and Rectors, that we just discovered for the first time in Session 1, because we just made it up then, are the subordinates of the Prefects. They're very powerful administrators. They're not necessarily public figures, but they have got a huge amount of power over the planets that they are working in. So basically we're at the part of the timeline where it appears that the Infinite are still collecting their tithe, and this is one of the ways that the Infinite maintain their grip upon their galaxy. Every year, these absolutely humongous solar system busting tithe ships rock in to a sector and then hone in on a planet, at which point the planet has to give of itself whatever it produces. Whatever it happens to produce is the tithe, and this has been built in for thousands of years. These tithe ships are absolutely vast. There's all sorts of superstition about them. There's all sorts of stories told about them. The only people that ever get close to them are those that are stupid enough to try and get close to them, and then likely will get vaporized somewhere before they reach the surface of the ship. And the ones that are allowed in are like those who are bringing the tithe materials, if it hasn't already come up the space elevator, if it's been shipped up off land, and that those ships will be able to bring that up. Now, this is very much on the minds of the current group, because casting a shadow across the habitable sector of the world that we live in and that we're playing in is one of these fast tithe ships. And being such an advanced industrial planet with great wealth, great mineral resources, precious gems, metals, and other food of the earth, literally, because they're ripping the planet apart, is usually going to be what would be expected to be delivered in the tithe ship. But for some reason, our players have discovered that this is not what's potentially happening. It seems to be that across the planet, people are going missing. And it's at this point that the players began to weave this story together, and tell the story of where people have been going. So yeah, anybody want to take it from there? Does anybody want to give a kind of recap of what their characters has done and what they found and what their thoughts are at this point? And then we'll crack on with jumping right in back at the cliffhanger that we left it at last week.
Let's jump into the cliffhanger.
Get on with it, says Jake. Get on with it.
I mean, did you want to basically explain? We discovered that people are being shipped out as part of the tithe, or we suspect they are, for some reason, for the first time ever. They're actually using people or collecting people for some strange reason, and the ship that we are on has been fitted out to carry people in suspended animation, and I believe it's Lloyd's character's ship.
Yeah, we've
That
been loaded
has
up
been-
with 20 lucky souls as part of our deep dive to try and find information.
And my character is a scientist who has been working on this technology and has discovered that it is being used for this purpose. Jake's character is a medical intern who has been... He's been kind of troubled by a missing patient that he was treating, who no longer appeared to be on the hospital records when he went in one morning. And there's no evidence of this patient ever being there, except that Jake's character just happened to have the medical wristband that had fallen off his patient the day before in his pocket. And I believe we left it. We had collected a bunch of these 20 cylinders that were aboard Lloyd's ship, and we were about to open one up and see who was inside. And I think that's where we left off, right?
That was absolutely, yeah. That was the cliffhanger.
Here we go. You see, she had to get a mention.
Jokes.
Yeah.
You've been given a code from somebody who obviously is not happy with the direction that the Tanya Elsie Research Medical Wing has been going in, and you're standing there above this tube. The tubes themselves are 6-7 foot tall. They're black, featureless until such time that you present a security card to them, at which point the control mechanism hologram type panel appears projected out from the tube, which you can interface with. And you have already done this once before, but never with one person in. So
No.
you are inside the Reckless Endeavour, which is Galen Malovik's ship. It's a refitted mineral extraction and transport ship, so it's not the most luxurious of things, but it has plenty of space in it. You've put yourself into some sort of holding orbit just now before you actually make good and deliver this thing to the Tanya Ellis Center. So you approach this tube. You present the security card in the right place, the security disc or whatever we have, this object. The hologram control panel appears in front of you, and you begin to press one of the buttons that's there, and the disengaging noises of the door sound, the the hissing of the fumes being vented, the liquids being drained back into their tanks. This process takes a bit of time. It doesn't happen immediately, and as the door dissolves away, once all of the inside parts of it have been fixed, you see a character. You just see their head. The rest of it is consumed by this foam-like stuff. You just see their head, and the foam is beginning to dissipate around their body. And they still have their clothes on. You're looking at
Yeah,
Someone-
your wife's sister, the one you didn't like.
Yeah, you're looking at a male human, looks about mid 30s, and a very square face, numerous scars on the face. They are big built as the foam begins to fade away and dissolve back into the back half of this chamber. And they're still wearing their clothes, and you see that they're wearing clothes that are typical kind of working trades, miner type, industrial protective clothing, and it's all just squashed in. But this this figure is just lying straight back with arms down at the side and isn't conscious yet. It's just lying there, eyes closed. But looks to be about maybe 5'6", 5'7", not very tall, and therefore doesn't fill up the whole of this chamber. There's still quite a bit of space above them, and you're just watching as the apparatus begins to return it back to a status where you could presumably extract the body if you wanted to.
Is there any indication in the cylinder at all about life signs or anything like that?
Yeah, give me a tech roll to see if you can figure out what, and it's for you it's an easy roll because...
Should we just forgo that? Okay, so
Or
I have
you
rolled
can-
a 7.
yeah, you're having a look at this.
There's nothing obvious, is I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess I look at the medical guy.
yeah, at the risk of waking the patient up, if I can call him a patient at this point. Well, he will be shortly, because what I intend to do is open up my medical bag, take out a syringe, and extract a sample of his blood for analysis. I want to look to see if he's been treated with anything, if the body is treated for transport, has any drugs in it, maybe an excess amount of streptozine or any other types of interesting facts.
Okay.
And after I go, Dr. Zimmerman, it looks like he's been artificially put to sleep in here, obviously. This shouldn't wake him up, should it? And then I put the syringe in to try to extract the blood. I mean, Dr. Zimmerman knows more about this technology than anybody else here, so.
I kind of... I don't even get a chance, I suppose, to respond before...
Well, you have the
Rough
chance.
face.
It'll take me.
Oh, okay.
There's always a chance.
Yeah.
You get about a quarter of a second. Go.
And I just say, I've never seen it used on a human being before. I couldn't say.
I'll be gentle.
What are you going to do with the blood? We need to get to a lab or something to examine it, right?
Oh, I was wondering if the ship here might be outfitted with some method of performing checks, if there's a little bit of a med bay or anything that can do some basic analysis. Or perhaps we could, tweak some of the
Could you get
tools
into the hospital lab?
I think I could.
Galen, can we make a detour?
How much of a detour? Like, we don't want to. Do we want to stand out?
I believe we have
Oh.
16 hours.
Yeah. How far away is this?
I suspect you've done things like this in your line of work before.
Transporting frozen bodies.
Transporting people that don't want to be seen.
I mean, have we checked you don't want them to, they don't want to be seen? But
Yes, I don't
Well,
want to be seen. Thank you.
hey, I'm just trying to stand up for the popsicles. They can't talk for themselves. Alright, well, if you let me know where we need to go, we'll try and...
VTOC.
Route that doesn't look too obvious.
And I look at Ruffy.
I said, I think I have a way we could sneak him into the hospital. And I take
Well,
the.
Do we need to take the body, or can we just take the blood sample?
Might be easier with a blood sample.
Yeah, I was imagining that maybe the.
We're not going to
equipment
weekend
will be
at
brought
Bernie's
to the
this.
patient, but yes. No. I made friends with a few of the lab technicians. I could probably get them to check it out for me.
Now let's do it.
Let's go.
All right.
Okay, so you easily get your way to VTOC. The big hospital building, the Voltanis Teaching Hospital of Care, where Rufi works, and found this tag of this missing individual. No record of the patient in the systems, but yeah, something was still left, as if there was an attempt to try and expunge this individual from memory, making, I guess, Rufi quite doubtful. Is that right? In your mind that this person existed at all? It's just that you have these tags, and it's a medical tag, and it can't be forged.
Well, Adam's pretty sure he exists too, so it's not just me.
Perhaps he could help you with the blood sample analysis.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
So what's your
Adam
plan
definitely
of-
exists.
What's your plan of approach? Are you going to? Is this just a kind of? Are you just going to fly into one of the service bays? Are you going to go in as an emergency vehicle? Are you? What? How do you?
No.
approach this?
I mean, I think this is Galen's kind of bag, really.
I think we probably, I don't know, because I think it might be a bit more attention grabbing if we land too close to the hospital.
I'm going to
Especially if we're only dropping off a blood sample.
Right.
Yeah, we just have to get a bay somewhere.
Yeah, just
Anywhere,
somewhere
really.
a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can transport, get a cab or whatever the current equivalent is to the hospital. And
So you land at one of the municipal bays, one of the starports, enough about the way not to be picking up a lot of heat. You don't have to fill out a lot of paperwork. You don't get any questions from any flight command. You're just basically given the spot, and you come into land. You walk out onto one of the walkways, which are above the street level. In this part, you can occasionally get to see down onto street level, but it's not a pleasant place, and you try not to go down there if you don't have to. This particular walkways have kind of just ordinary self-driving motorized hovering vehicles that you can key in your coordinates and name or whatever, and you can get taken to them. So no particular surprises there. You have to identify yourself, so you have to, whoever's going has to make sure that they can afford it in terms of credit. But I don't think that'll be an issue for any of you, and probably Galen's probably got multiple identities anyway, so we could use one of them.
Yeah, the
if you
doctor's
want to.
paying. He's on the.
Yeah, so you get this vehicle flies you up to one of the VTOC public entrances, and just at the side of that there's the staff entrance as well. So you can get in either way depending on what you're looking for. You've got people arriving in boats to go and visit people. You've got people going in there to be part of clinical trials. All the kind of usual stuff that a busy learning hospital has to go through. So you've got a number of people that are all assembled and either waiting on the vehicle that you're getting out of so they can get into it and go somewhere else. And it's relatively busy. And yeah, you can walk in through staff, you can walk in through the public entrance, no problem at all to get into these main corridors.
what's the
So I'm
best
going to
way
walk
in?
into the lab. As I open the door, I'm going to see Tracy there. I'm going to go, Tracy. Oh, I'm so happy you're working now. I need a huge favor. And yes, I know I'll owe you yet another coffee. I promise I'm good for it. We'll get coffee sometime. But I need a favor, but don't tell Corey. I'm trying to get into the good favors of Dr. Minsk. I'd love to get an internship under him. but I have this vial of blood that I want to analyze to really impress him. Could you give me access to the lab for 15, 20 minutes and, let's just keep this off the books because I really want to impress Dr. Minsk, but the university labs aren't anywhere half as good as the ones here.
That sounds like a charisma roll if there ever was one.
Okay. Well, let's see how this goes.
You're well disposed. Tracy is this morning.
Judging by my high school years, this won't go over so well, but let's see. Oh, 15.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
nice.
I rolled an 11. That's pretty good.
Wait.
Yeah, but +4. So you, for most tasks, that's going to succeed in most cases. Just about every case, a 15 is a good score. Right. We are looking at Tracy. Tracy is somewhat. I don't know. She's somewhat tired, maybe, of being promised coffee, and she hasn't had one yet. But she buys it because she likes Ruby, and was probably Kobe, was it? This is the son of Dr. Minsk, isn't it?
Corey. Yes.
Corey introduced in session 2 for the first time. Corey once had a thing, but didn't end it well with this particular system. So she's got a bit of a grudge to bear. She looks at you and says, "Yes, go now. If you're really quick, you'll be able to get in before Professor Zikla comes. Professor Zikla's making some inroads. He's claiming that he has a new method of being able to reverse the balding follicle. Can you imagine, after all of this time, to finally have a cure? It's phenomenal." And so, Professor Zikla obviously making claims for something we all know is impossible. You go into the lab, and it's very it's very untidy because there's just it doesn't get the attention that it needs, and people tend to use these things and they don't tidy up after themselves properly. It's not a professional science lab. It's not run to the standards of Rogan Cormier. It's much more public in that regard. But still, there's lots of good equipment here, and there's hoods and all the type of stuff that you need, all the futuristic, sciencey machines, a centrifuge, and all these kind of other wondrous, modern, futuristic blood testing devices that you can put it in. And you even get to wear a white coat as well. What about that? That's amazing. So you go in and you set up this. You go to the machine that goes ping, and you put in the blood sample, and you let it run its. It doesn't take long, just a few minutes. That's all it needs. You key in the kind of standard test that you're looking for, and it'll quickly analyze that. It doesn't take long at all. While you're standing there. And sorry, what was the name of the person in your lab again that you spoke to?
Tracy, the lab technician.
Yes. Okay. So Tracy, the lab technician. Okay. So what are you two doing while this is happening? Have you gone in with Rufi, Galen, Dr. Zimmerman? Excuse me, have you gone in with Rufi, or are you hanging about, or are you doing something else?
I would like to go in with Ruffy if I can.
Yeah, I think we should stick together.
Okay. So it's a fairly busy hospital, and you can easily get into all of the public parts without too much trouble. Where Rufi has gone at one point, you're trying to get into slightly more secure ish labs. They're not secure in the sense of armed guards or anything, but Rufy, do you sign these guys in? Do you actually let them come in behind you, or do you tell them another route in, or do you tell them to go and speak to somebody? How do you get these guys into this area?
Or do you tell us to
Right.
wait outside?
I would have just been bringing them in with me, like nodding to the guard, and like these guys are with me, and bring them through with me, and kind of travel the the back hallways where the staff and the medical staff go through, and stay out of like the public hallways where the cameras would be set up and other things like that, if possible.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in.
Just make sure that we've got our kind of tablets or whatever it is, our comms unit things out, because it's the futuristic equivalent of the clipboard, right?
Pretty much. Yeah.
And everybody knows if you're carrying a clipboard, you can pretty much get in anywhere.
Yeah.
Important. Just look like you know where you're going.
And
So
that's
you
it.
follow-
Just as long as you look like you're meant to be there, nobody will question.
So you
And I'm
follow
thinking
in.
Dr. Zimmerman would probably be able to help with the diagnostics equipment.
Okay.
But Dr. Zimmerman, maybe it'd be an idea if we could clone this person 20 times to replace the 20 bodies. Or plan B, the morgue might have 20 available corpses to swap. I mean, we're not...
It's an interesting plan, but have you figured how we would smuggle 20 corpses out of this hospital? Between the three
I
of us?
have a funny feeling Galen would have a plan for that. He seems the type.
I'm not much of a mortuary
Yeah,
smuggler,
no, you-
more of a
you-
supplies information runner.
It's like, yeah. The, the futuristic
But I mean-
equivalent of a grave robber. That's what you are.
Rude.
I
I think the problem is because of the length of time we'd have to defrost everyone and then keep them quiet while we get bodies up. It's gonna be quite a complicated operation. It's almost like a heist on its own.
Yes, we only have 16 hours.
well, surely we're not considering bringing these 20 people and just surrendering them.
We have to.
By the way, did that guy in the ship wake up?
Cliff.
In the tube.
No.
Not Cliff. Cliff's still in the whole sort of storage bay thing.
He's still sleeping.
Cliff has never had a holiday like this before in his life.
He's gonna be so relaxed when he wakes up.
Cliff had been kept awake for 4 days with various over-the-counter pharmaceutical products and some under-the-counter ones as well. Who knows what dreams he's having right now? Okay, so yeah, you're kind of umming and on about this, and Tracy is busying up some of her own clipboard work, and you see her bustling past you, and she makes her way over to one of the other bays over on the other side and begins to pull apart a piece of equipment there, and she's just kind of making a bit of a rattle and a bit of a noise, and your machine finishes and the results come back. This mixture of drugs that have been found in the person's body is probably of no significant surprise. Everything about it is sedative. Everything about it is everything that could be designed to knock somebody out very quickly. But what is interesting is that there's only a trace of streptozine among that. And it doesn't look like the individual has been racked full of that, but it is definitely there in the system. And you don't know whether or how that might be. You might have interrupted the process, you think. You might not have let it finish, so it might just be that it's filling up. Or maybe there's something done back at the Tanya Ellis Center, you don't know. So everything, you're looking at this, and it kind of makes sense because you know that this person's been put into this and bundled into, basically kidnapped, grabbed, kidnapped, and without a struggle, and put into this custom made for this person, has been put into this chamber. So yeah, everything is there that would knock somebody from being fighting or active to a sleeping slumber very quickly, like serious knockout gas. And that's what you're seeing in this, as well as the fact that he's got very high levels of magnesium, aluminium, and other trace metals, which is probably not a good thing because clearly he's working
Mining.
and all this stuff's going into his body, and it's not being filtered out properly. So working conditions are clearly absolutely appalling. And something else is interesting about this that you see on the Bloods. He has also got the markers, because I'm assuming in the blood it does DNA and stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
It's not just, it does the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did
he's-
want to see if we could tally up the DNA with the medical database, which I'm assuming the computer in the corner there would have
that's
access
good.
to.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
to identify this guy and find out if he's being treated for any medical conditions. If there's any,
Yeah.
I want to try and find a connection.
Yeah. Okay.
And more importantly, if genetically he is different in any way from other
Yeah.
people, like is there a distinguishing characteristic that isn't generally part of the general population?
Yeah, so what you find out from that, and we'll get to his name and his details in a bit, but what you see from the DNA in the DNA report, he's identified as having a fairly early stage of a very debilitating muscular dystrophy of some description. I don't know the futuristic names of these, but the upshot is that this is something that is found where the muscles begin to waste away,
Like a
but it-
mitochondria, is it?
and so it basically leaves the person weak and unable, eventually leading to death. And it can be treated, you can be fixed with the DNA. It's there, and that's what this person has. And then you link it. The results come back as you scan in the DNA through these the Rogan-Cornet pass that you have, and you find that this person is Alex Varchi, who works in the mines. He's a miner. He's a grade 6 miner. He's been working in the mines for about 25 years. And he's undergoing treatment for this degenerative,
okay.
this muscular wastage thing.
Yeah, it looks like he is a potential candidate for Bradykins disease, named after that famous baseball player that had the exact same condition.
Yes, you have a miner who's just come to the end of his usefulness.
Do you mind? I kind of step up to the computer and I'm going to type in Elena Zimmerman. I want to call up her medical record.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I see a photograph, my face softens a little bit.
Then you get really angry when you find out she's having an appointment just 2 doors down the hall. Just,
Yeah. She's having an appointment behind my back.
And it's labeled for
She's having an
vasectomy.
appointment with another man.
So yeah, you firstly hit a bit of an issue. It's the university combined, the combined whirring and clicking of the university systems together with Rogan Cormier, the systems that you've combined together to get these searches. As you begin to look for, let's say it was Elena.
Yeah.
As you're looking at these, the data begins to scramble. Pictures in front of you, as you're searching through, you see a picture, your face softens, but then the picture begins to scramble and then just disappear. and then it goes on to the next one.
What's
as
going
you're
on?
You're actively searching things, and you're looking at this, watching as you're clicking through the images in the files, and the files are all just disappearing in front of you as you're looking through them.
Ooh. I look at Ruffy. They're deleting the record. You have to stop them.
But you did that while I was logged on to my profile. Now they'll know it's me. It's bad enough they could read my mind. And Adams?
Okay. We
I
need
think
to.
we have to leave here. Like, now.
I mean, it sounds like you have to leave.
Get the blood sample.
Just hand me the keys to the spaceship.
Yeah, it's the trick is it's always been unlocked. Yeah.
That's...
Yeah, we should grab the blood sample and the. We'll. I want to copy the record that we've just made of the results of the test onto the data pad.
Yeah, you take a local
print it out.
copy.
They'll never expect it to be on paper.
They didn't expect it because there's no printer here.
Maybe it's not too late. Let's type in the name of the person who we just identified as a search. Maybe because he wasn't processed yet, his records might still be available. I mean, he's...
Yeah, so you go into a bit more detail on this person and you find out what you need. You see pictures, you see storage capacity that's been used by that. You see the last food orders, you see he's eating particularly well. You see the medical background. All of this information is available. So everything's there, like you'd expect.
I'd like to copy that information to have on a media type that is non-volatile and not connected to a network. So what the equivalent would be like a tablet is connected to a network, a USB key is not. So I would probably try to copy it onto a media that's not connected.
Yeah. Okay. This is quite difficult to find, I think, because of the internet. The internet
Interconnectivity, right.
Yes. And honestly, it's quite possible that these small devices are, in this world.
I mean, is it likely that there might be some kind of private storage, like Dropbox equivalent, that you could make use of, maybe?
Yeah,
future Dropbox. We'll call it.
I think our
do not pry box.
Our very ambitious medical student must have skeletons in the closet. If Rufe has got something,
it's pure for medical research, though.
Yeah.
Has got something, has got something like this.
The dead
You mean like
bodies of his
something
previous
subterfugal?
Yeah, the dead bodies of his previously imaginary friends.
Yeah.
I will roll subterfuge.
I'm interested to see.
8. I will copy it onto my pad. That's what I have.
Yeah.
That's what I have.
It's time, right? We haven't got much time.
You could let us know what this what the skeletons were, and we could if that was a thing. But anyway, yeah, okay. I'd have thought about something there for the game, but interestingly,
Corey did try to steal one of my medical papers and pass it off as his own, and then I had to redo all the work on my own. So since then, I was working on trying to find a way that I can actually do research and store the data without Corey stealing it and taking credit for it, making me do all the work.
Corey sounds like a bit of a dick.
That's why Adam's my best friend and not Corey.
Yeah, that makes sense now.
So we're looking at this, and I think that's kind of cool. You've got this very old school way of storing information. Maybe it's like in an image or something, I don't know, but you store this data in a way that you hope isn't going to be recognizable to some prying eyes, and you do that, and you're fairly confident that Corey won't get it either. So you're happy that you've done what you can.
Yeah, I take out my Commodore 64.
The idea of the information not having been wiped yet is intriguing, because a lot of the information that you cross-reference was across multiple systems, and so for it to exist on none of them does suggest that it isn't an instant thing and that it's being worked on. Of course, you're not so aware of what you would expect to find for a stranger, whereas Dr. Zimmerman knows what should have been there for his wife. But the telltale signs of interference you haven't noticed with this new character that you picked up. So back at the ship, I guess, once you've managed to get back, unless there's anything else that you want to do in the hospital. Is there anything else happening that you need to see to while you're there?
If we feel that talking to one of these people to find out what their experience was more intimately is useful, then it would be useful to have a body to replace it with.
We got Clifford.
Poor guy.
He won't even notice. He's been up for 4 days.
He needs to sleep,
We'll
right?
just we'll just steal one body just to make you happy.
Thank you,
also,
Mom.
I feel like we're not leaving this hospital any other way but the morgue, are we?
No.
You already know
That's
that
ominous.
these machines are built to order, and the insides are designed specifically based on the dimensions of their inhabitant. It's going to be tricky to find somebody that matches that can fit into that space.
Okay.
You're looking for a round peg to fit in a round hole, and you ain't going to be able to triangle peg it.
Or is he a smaller triangle?
So,
I'd say the
What's your
ruling was
plans,
made.
what's your plans? I'm open. I mean, if you've got something that's cool to do, then this is where we're going.
Well,
if you want to rate the morgue, then
If I
let's
were
do it.
watching this again, or when I rewatch it again, I'll be able to know the exact, minute and second that you said. The body looks a little bit smaller than what the container can hold.
that is true. Yeah, absolutely, that's right. So
It
yeah.
just turns
Right,
out
well,
the muscly guy has got like really thin legs, and
Exactly.
we just got someone who's very bottom heavy.
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? What's the idea then? Are you gonna try and save this one miner with?
Well,
some-
just like to at least not throw things off. I don't know how long it'll take us to like get everyone out.
Like if we
It may be the bigger mission is the priority over saving just one of 20 of many, many, many.
we have to take them all back, or they'll be onto us, and then we'll be able to save no
Yeah.
one.
I mean, it would be quite funny if the whole tithe fails because one of the bodies was swapped.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait a minute.
Ship
You're sure,
explodes.
guys? You're sure? Destroy planet. Yeah.
They'll have to create
Wow.
a game Tales of the Infinite version 2
Yeah.
because we just killed it all.
Or do we want to like have a quick peek at like all the other people in the pods? You're like, oh, this one's a miner, but this one's like, I don't know, an inventor. This one's a banker. You're like, oh, he can die. This one's a lawyer. Just smother him and then put him back in.
wow.
Look, there may be another way to save all of them. Just because we're sending them up to the tide doesn't mean that later on we won't be able to figure it out and bring
Yeah,
them
well,
back.
fingers
I mean,
crossed.
there's Dr. Zimmerman's wife. We have to hold out hope always that we'll be able to find her again.
And your imaginary friend.
Oh, he's not imaginary. I'm sure he's at the hospital here somewhere. I think his shift is now. Shall I go find him for you?
I'm not sure that'll help the situation if he can help us steal a body from the morgue.
We don't have much time. Let's just get out of here.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think
Oh,
once I saw
exactly.
the data starting to disappear, I got very nervous.
Gracie sees you leave and she shouts over amidst the dismantling of this machine. That's 2 coffees! 2 coffees! Come back!
2 coffees and a donut.
I mean, if you want to get really dark revenge on your like hospital intern rival, you could just knock him out on the way out, and then we put him in the pod.
Yeah. Hmm.
I think the consensus is we're heading back to the ship before
Apparently,
some
It's a
Body.
consensus of 1.
some
And,
body.
So you're getting,
Morgue.
you're getting yourself back down through the hospital and back out to where the ship is. You get back into the ship, and the individual that you left in the capsule is still there. He's still unconscious or sleeping or whatever. There's a small dot of blood where you took where the needle pricked his skin. But yeah, otherwise he's totally, he's just out for the count. Speaking of being out for the count, you happen to look past one of the storage bays that you notice a rather tall member of the Tanya Ellis uniformed porter services still sleeping quite happily. That seems to be enjoying his holiday. Yeah. So that's it. You're back on the ship now. You can close up this if you need to. You can try and figure out how to revive this character if you need to. What's your plan? Are you just going to drop
I think
them off?
if we figure out how to wake them up, it'll help with others if we ever get an opportunity later on. We'll save a bit of time in the long run.
I think waking him up.
We're
is
going to
the
wake him up and then hope
equivalent
that he allows
naming
us to
of a
put him
pet.
back in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where it turns out that like where you jabbed him with the needle to take his blood was actually in an artery. So it's like a tiny hole here, and then you turn around, there's just red everywhere else.
Oh yeah, that wall wasn't red before.
Waking him up is kind of like naming a stray. Once you name the stray, you can't let it
That's
out
right.
again. You know,
Yeah.
it's having a conversation with him would not sit well with me.
Okay, let's just not give him a name.
You're standing around again, variously looking at this rather beaten up, scarred face, and you know now what you know about this person. If he doesn't get the treatment he needs, he maybe has 15 years of life, and you know that given his career, that's just going to become difficult. He's going to be down working, fixing up these machines that are supposed to do the job, but despite the technology, there's still humans are required to go down these massive pits and solve problems that are down there. It's not great work. It's well paid, but it's not great work. And this could be leading to his downfall. It might be that he won't be able to see out his contract. He might even be of no use if he doesn't get the treatment that he needs. So yeah,
You don't suppose he volunteered, do you?
But we can ask him.
We're not waking him up, all right?
But that would assume that many people know about this and know what's happening and have a choice to volunteer or not.
He just never got the memo.
How much time do we have left before we have to be at our rendezvous point?
takes you
39 minutes. He took too long with the printer.
Did waiting in
Probably
queue.
you got a few hours left, right? You got a few hours.
Checking the medical records of this patient, are there any records about last doctor visits where this was discussed, treatment options were discussed, patient wishes were discussed?
You look down the list of the medical notes and you discover that requisition on the file was made on behalf of Dr. Wise.
That name is familiar, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dr. Wide?
Wise.
Dr.
They're
Wide.
from your hospital.
He's the guy that prescribed Alfred's wife's medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. So Dr. Wise took an interest.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's the
please.
one that prescribed half of the medicine that his wife, that guy's wife, needed.
Yeah.
Back in episode 1.
Yeah.
Wonder where he is
His new
now.
wife. Galen, maybe we could cross-reference some data. You procure information, correct?
Yes.
How difficult would it be for you to determine if there's any notarized will for this person that was either added or changed recently?
That's
Certainly
quite
if
a
somebody-
specific piece of information.
Sorry?
It's quite a specific piece of information.
If you had access to notarial databases.
I'm not sure that he would. This,
Okay.
Maybe you
I don't
know
if that's
somebody
publicly
that does.
available. Yeah, I don't know if we got the time. That
Yeah.
Now, Dr. Wise, we don't know where he doesn't work at the VTOC, does he?
No. He works at
He's
one
like
of
a G-
the
like a
sector,
GP, yeah, like a-
sector-based community type medical.
he might be more of a
facility.
lead. We could try and jump him.
Yeah, can we find out where he's based?
Yeah, no problem. That's very straightforward. You get his details. He is a relatively long-standing medical practitioner, and previously has served in one of the task forces created by a proctor to alleviate some of the suffering of agricultural workers near some of the landfall that had happened caused by one of the collapse of a mining belt, one of these giant rings that surfaces. So yeah, he's been working on.
He's connected. Then that's the
Yeah, he's connected. Yeah, basically, yeah.
But if he's a community doctor as well, perhaps we can make an appointment to see
Yeah,
him.
really, absolutely easy to find. He's in sector C Sigma 7, which is it's an all right place. It's not that far away from the space elevator. It's not somewhere you would maybe choose to go typically, but it's not difficult to get to, and it's not that far away from the Tanya Ellis facility either. It's kind of in that region. It's in that same quadrant of
Maybe
the
we'll
habitable zone.
dropping by on the way.
now. Well, if we're going to make an appointment, do we make an appointment for Alfred? Because we'd know his last name because Rafe saw the prescription for his wife, so we know the last name. We could make an appointment for Alfred, whoever.
Yeah.
Alfred
And
Gandhi.
surprise!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Surprise, Dr. White.
Yeah, I mean, you know what he looks like. There's a profile picture of him. You know that he's 56 years old, and you know that he has an exemplary record, and he's well published. So yeah, you see all these things, no problem. But you know that he's working down in C Sigma 7 in the medical practice, community medical practice there, which is kind of sus, Rufy. because for you, your money, if you had the sort of career that this guy's had, you wouldn't be at a community medical practice. Like, you wouldn't be. That's not where you would be. You would be high-fluting it somewhere in Morgan Corney, or you'd be somewhere doing some exceptionally well-paid job. So the fact that this high flyer is in such a low-lying position is very curious to you.
He's just really good at budgeting.
We're just gonna go in and bad cop, worst cop him.
Yeah.
All right.
Good cop, bad cop, imaginary cop.
What are you doing? What are you doing with your open cryogenic tank?
I'm assuming we're going to need the key to close it somehow so that it doesn't look like it's been opened.
Yeah.
Dr. Zimmerman, you probably could work that best than everybody else here.
I mean, it pretty much seemed to do it itself, didn't it? So.
Yeah, you activate the key. You look at it and you're like, no, that one was open, so this one obviously. And then you press that, and the lid reforms in the space it's supposed to. You hear the gurgling of liquids again. Yeah. And the face disappears, but as the surface of the tank becomes dark and tinted, and you just can't.
I just mutter a low "sorry" when when it should.
It's like one of those like vacuum pack things they never quite fit back in its original package.
So you've got this little bit of foam that's just outside somewhere. It's just falling out, caught in the door. No, it's all good, and the tank's empty. The valve, indicators that all the liquid's gone back to where it's supposed to, and the gases and such. Everything, the mixture, the cocktail that is contained within these tubes is back to where it's supposed to be, and it's all showing that it's normal, I guess. I mean, this is your research. I mean, you're quite impressed by all this, by the way. At the This is,
and the fact, secretly, he's probably quite happy the fact it worked.
Yeah, you've done some good work there. Your theories, but how did they get to this level of advancement so quickly? That's what you don't understand, and you're.
And why?
And why? Yeah. So you basically put this character back into deep freeze, and you are you're making your way down to this sector. You're trying to get back to C Sigma 7 community medical practice to find this high flyer in a rather lowly position.
Yeah.
And as is the case, you go to the starport. It's a little bit harder to find a space port in this sector that's suitable for the size of the ship.
Could we have just left the ship where it was and took a transport of some kind to... Would that have been easier?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Galen would know.
We would not lose the advantage of this being along the route where we headed originally at the end.
Yeah, so you are kind of heading back to the space elevator. So you can, but it takes you. It takes maybe another half hour to get situated, and then maybe another 20 minutes to take a tube or whatever the equivalent is through to this sector. And because it is a community building, it's easy to get to. Folk know where it is, and it does actually have a street level entrance on this one as well. But you wouldn't necessarily expect to enter it at street level. So you go in, about 30 floors up, and you walk into the reception, where you find a reasonably shabby-looking reception desk. There's an AI concierge. There is, a number of orderlies who are sat around people who are sitting on seats, and there's one person on a trolley just lying down rather, looking a bit unconscious. So it's busy, and there's people coming in, and it's working. It's a working medical place, and you're standing there just looking around, and again struck by the fact that this definitely isn't VTOC, and it absolutely isn't Rogan Cormier either. I mean, this is not how you would do this. This you wouldn't, this isn't great, but you can see why it's serviceable.
So it's an AI reception, do you say?
Yeah.
Did we call ahead with an appointment? Make an appointment, or?
Oh, we did using that guy's.
Yeah. So we just say Alfred do what? Ganduk. Alfred Ganduk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you immediately the appointment is transferred onto your device. You hold, you press for the field to come up, and you immediately see the lines appear as they're taking you through the building to the room, to the appointment room that you're supposed to be in.
Okay.
And you find your way there, and you walk in. 3 of you, I guess. You're all together still.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And the voice comes in. Please wait for your appointment. Dr. Wise will be with you in 3 minutes. And yeah, so that time passes. And as you're waiting, looking around this room, it's pretty empty. There isn't much in here. There's a few obvious places where stuff comes out of the wall. There's a couple of screens, some monitors, and you recognise that there's enough ability to change the space and what's being used here to whatever's required. At this point, the room needs seats for 3 people, and that's what appears out of the wall. So you've got these 3 seats, and you're sort of, I don't know if you sit down or stand up, but within that short space of time, with the AI counting down helpfully, Dr. Wise is going to be with you, and here he is, kind of thing. And then he walks in through the door. Obviously, the doors here don't befit having actual mechanical parts. This is one of these Iris doors, and he just solves as he walks in. He looks at you, surprised. And you see this character that matches the profile. He looks just like the individual that you were doing a little bit of investigation on. He looks like he has maybe been taking some of the alcohol substitutes a little bit too frequently. His skin is showing signs of excessive use of some sort of substance. But he looks at you and he says, "Oh, I was expecting Alfred."
Yeah.
Please sit down, Dr. Wise.
Yeah, we should have a private word in your office. We'll explain everything.
You hear, what are you doing? And he begins to back out the door.
I think I'll
Follow him.
try to stop him from that, and I'll go,
Yeah.
Dr. Wise, it's okay. It's me, Corey, Dr. Minsk's son.
Oh,
You can trust us. This
Well,
is
that-
important.
that needs a roll. I mean, this is fast talking subterfuge
Sure.
again, isn't it? You're trying to con somebody, so yeah, let's see it.
And all my attributes were random, so I didn't get to choose any of this. But okay, here we go. 9.
He looks at you.
Can I spend?
I'll give him a risk.
Oh yeah.
okay.
that's
Oh!
true.
You need to
Yes,
spend
I
2
forgot.
to give him a point, don't you?
You need to
Oh no, I'll
give him
take
a
my
point.
own risk. I'll add it. I still have
Right.
some. Don't
Yeah.
spend 2 when I could spend 1.
I mean, how many do we need?
I'm gonna
Is this a-
actually
is it
spend
12?
3. I don't know how many we need,
Ooh.
but I'm going to move it up to the 12 just in case.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
have
so- The skill rolls. A D12 is
It
the
saves me
standard
breaking his
roll.
leg.
Yeah, easier attempts are 10 and harder attempts are 14. So this is a straightforward attempt. And he looks at you. Yeah.
And I just gesture to the seat. It's very urgent that we speak to you, Doctor.
Dr. Minsky I apologize. I understand the need for caution. Please let me just lock down the room. And he says, Concierge, this is a sensitive matter. Our patient requires the utmost discretion. Override on my voice print. Please lock this room for the next 15 minutes. No incoming announcements, calls, it's any kind of rattles a whole bunch of stuff off, and the room says, yes, Dr. Wise, this has been done. I will be silent. You find... Yeah, and the whole thing just shuts. Their iris closes, and you get the sense that yeah, and he kind of looks at you and says, I wasn't expecting any direct contact.
Well,
What's happened?
that's why.
What's gone wrong?
That's why Dr. Mintz didn't come himself.
We've never needed to discuss this. Must be very important. Please, we are completely untraceable. There is no recording going on here. Tell me, why have you come? What do we need? What must we do? What's happened?
Some of the containers may be defective.
Yes, my name is Dr. Zimmerman.
No.
I am... I know what you're saying, but...
Okay, go ahead. Yes,
let's go with it.
Of course I will. Edge of my seat. Edge of my seat.
I'm one of the designers of the cryotubes. I think I've discovered a problem.
Yeah. But Rogan Cormier, they signed this contract. It was made, and it was. How could this be now? We have only 2.5 days until the tithe is due to be uplifted. What needs? How can I help? What do I need to do? This is not good. If we don't make the tithe, then we know what happens. We understand the seriousness.
There must be some way to postpone. This is the first time we've done anything like this.
You cannot postpone the tithe to the infinite. This would see our planet occupied by sunburners. We would lose all manner of control. We must make this tithe. We have committed to making this on a yearly annual basis. You know this. You understand. No, we cannot. What must be done? If we need to change resources, we can do that. If we have to find more people, we can do that. We need to make it work. We have to get these people up to the ship. This is what we have said we are giving. It's not like we can just magic more platinum out of the earth, right? We've tried that already.
It appears to be an issue with the candidates.
They have been selected entirely reasonably. What issue is there?
There seems to be an incompatibility with some of the chemicals that we've been using for the stasis.
We have trialed this. We were able...
We have not trialed this anywhere near long enough. We know that this has been rushed. Now, all of those people are in grave danger if we don't do something about it.
We have to make sure they're delivered intact. This is our tithe. Now, how do we need to fix it? Do we need to divert more resources? I have connections. If we need more resources, then it is possible.
Well, this needs to be handled quietly. We'll need unfettered access to all locations. Others can't know that this is happening.
Corey, what do you propose? Are you saying that we look at this through for all of the planets in the system? Are you serious? Is this that important? What are you looking for? Tell me. Perhaps I can give you information. Perhaps I can help.
Okay.
What is the incompatibility?
First of all, I'll need complete access to the selection profile. I need to understand exactly why the candidates were chosen. There's an issue with there's a reaction. We've only noticed it in some of the patients so far, but I want to be sure. The streptozine, you see, it has some effect on the brain of these particular candidates. Now, I believe they may be selected due to some kind of nerve condition, some mitochondrial condition that they have, but I cannot be sure.
We would need access to the list of candidates and their current location, wherever they are throughout the process. We'll have to cross-reference certain patients and their locations.
We agreed. The prefects from all the planets in this system were in agreement. The rectors all agreed we would only take those who were already infirm, that were already old, that were already with numbered days. We didn't want to take healthy people. That wasn't what Rogan Cormier said that you agreed. You said.
This may be a good thing. If there is no one specific condition, then it's not necessarily going to affect everybody, but we have to be sure.
I can't access the information in this room now. We're completely cut off. I'll need to check when oh my goodness, this can't be happening. I'm going to have to talk with the rector. He's going to have to know about this. We're going to have to let... And you can see his face just kind of racked with worry as the plans that he have completely unravel in front of him.
I wanted to blame him for it somehow, but I couldn't think of a way of doing it. Does anybody... Anybody have any ideas?
Well, I mean, we still have. We still have.
Okay, I'm going to try.
Preliminary indications are
your
pointing
records
to the fact that perhaps some of the data that was collected, and we don't want to say by who, but some of the data that was collected by perhaps you.
Somebody in this room
tainted the selection samples, which could result in less people being able to make it, which is just as bad as having these people not make it at all. Intact, of course. Right now, we need to find out how many and what we can do about it.
The reason we have come to you, Dr. Wise, is because it appears that it is the candidates that have been selected by you are the ones that are affected so far.
And he looks... No, that's not true. I worked with Dr. Abore with this. It's
yeah,
not
but we all know
possible.
the facilities here are not up to the same standards as had other doctors access to in other planets. It seems to be only isolated to here. We've cross-referenced the data.
And we've only got 2.5 days to fix this.
The only reason I'm here is to access the people to check that they are the ones that we need to be sending up.
Yes, we know that. We know that.
Facilities are not limited to here. Dr. Abore, he needs to know about this. He must be told.
I think we need to keep this quiet for your sake more than anybody else.
What
We'll
you
go and
suggest?
speak to Dr. Abore. I don't know how he's going to take it if he finds out that you screwed up.
We are all working towards this goal. Nobody likes it. But this is not how we intended to do it. But if the tithe is not met, if the tithe doesn't reach the tithe ship in the time that we've given it, then
Look, we all knew the
Oh.
risks. We've been rushed through this. Mistakes were bound to have happened.
But Rofi, I'm not sure if Dr. Wise here might... Are you having second thoughts?
I'm gonna roll something.
Okay.
At this point. Yeah, so he looks at you. I said,
Dr. Abore, I'm sure he'll be interested to hear about that.
okay, right, here's what I'll do. We'll finish this appointment. I'll give you the names of my selection. You find the ones on this that are not compatible. Come back and tell me. Yeah? Make another appointment. Come back and tell me. And if it's significant, and you know we built in fail-safes, if it's significant, then we'll go to Dr. Abore.
We have 2.5 days. I have to go to Dr. Abore immediately.
Corey, with your father's resources, you can run the analysis in a matter of minutes. Connect with them. Ask him for time. Get some compute units out of him. Get him to do this. You must prioritize this. We can't possibly call this to be a panic without knowing the scale of this.
How many patients have you referred, Dr. Wise?
He looks 700-800.
Yeah, I'm asking that as if I already know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's like, it's, yeah, 700-800. Yeah, that number. We were all supposed to come up with the quota, so really, we need to make sure that this. Look, computer appointment has ended. Please take lockdown, restore communications. But give us privacy level 19 for this, would you? I need to make a communication, and I'd rather not alert Central. And yeah, so the machine whirs and clicks. System check, Dr. Zimmerman. And the screen cracks up with your picture, working at Rogan Cornet in the cryogen facility, and he's like, fine. Transfer list 63 security password that, and then this list of people rocks up into your data pad, which is now connected again.
Yep.
And you scan your way down that list, and you just look at it's 769 different names on this list, and it's just vast. It's just vast, and this is one of the sectors. This is just one of the places that's been used in this way. A quick estimate in your head: the number of people that have been taken system wide, knowing the inhabitant area of each one, is in potentially 5 figures. The scale of this is just absolutely vast.
Thank you for your cooperation, Dr. Wise. I'll get back to you as soon as I've had a chance to run through the data.
Just all the relative files are there. They're linked. Just don't let it get out any further. There's a security on that. You've been given override. Dr. Abore will have a clearance anyway. Your father will have clearance, Corey. So just make it quick. Get back to me, and as soon as we know, as soon as you can pinpoint exactly who and how many, then we will do what is correct, do what is right, and we will make sure that our overflow is significant. We have a margin of error. Just let's hope it's enough.
Let's hope. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get up and head for the door. You guys coming?
Oh yeah. As I come back, as I'm walking out and out of earshot of Dr. Wise, I'm going to ask Dr. Zimmerman if I could take a look at that list.
Yeah, of course. That would be an issue.
So, looking, I can confirm that Alfred Gandok's wife is on that list.
Yeah.
Who lived in the same building as Dr. Zimmerman. So they're in the same area. So I just want to see if, without saying anything right away to Dr. Zimmerman, if I notice his wife's name in that list.
And shall we take a break on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great place to take a break.
Yeah, fingers crossed she isn't.
It's a great place to take a break. Let's take a
I'm
break.
going to stop doing that if you keep doing this to me.
So the issue at this juncture is that the list has been examined, looking for the wife of Dr. Zimmerman. Easy, sort, away you go. Look at the bottom of the list. There is no Zimmerman.
Yes.
He is not on the list.
Do I know Dr. Zimmerman's wife's maiden name?
Zimmer lady.
Even Dr. Zimmerman doesn't know that.
I will pass back the tablet. So that's a lot of names. And that's just
How many names are on the list?
769 or something.
There'll be 69 with
It wasn't me.
It was just a number.
It's the first number that came into somebody else's head.
It's just a number. It's got a 7 in front of it.
Lucky number 7.
Could have been a 68.
6.
It's like
one
a 69,
before
but you owe
7.
one.
Okay.
Zimmerman
Boom.
just flips out. You're like, oh god damn it, just cracks one of the pods, you'll be like, now it's 768.
We just eject it out the back of the ship.
Yeah.
You now have concrete proof that these bodies are being taken and going to be delivered to the Infinite as part of the planetary and the system tide. You know the tide ship is here. You can see it if you go at the front of Gallant's ship and look out the windows or look out any or bring up any external view cameras on when you're in the ship. This thing is absolutely fast. It disappears. As you're flying up around the city, the tallest building is the space elevator, and then you've got the rings in the distance that curve round the planet, and then you've just got this slab sitting on top of all of it. This giant leviathan of a ship. It's just absolutely huge thing. It just the perspective of this makes even the mining rings and the stabilizing rings of this planet look insignificant. The scale of this planet, this thing is huge. It's just inordinately massive. So it's there. It's quite obviously impressive and impressing onto the population below it. But it's not right. It's not hanging right over the city, blocking out the sun. But it quite easily could. That would put the whole city in shadow if it decided to just move itself a little bit. But yeah, so it's there, and you know now that the scale of this people extraction from the communities, the industrial zones. And now even you're thinking about maybe even up in some of the more highfalutin areas as well, perhaps. It's not just limited to those who might be missed, but in fact, away up in the planetary rings, because you know that the pilot that you were tracking, who pings up at this point, you get that tracker that was placed upon the ship.
Yep.
That pings back onto your systems as it shows a descent out of from one of the rings. So it's been doing something up there as well, and there's no reason not to assume that it would be taking people off the rings and down in preparation for being sent up to night ships. So this is fast. Your minds are suddenly all just your realization of the scale of this.
I think we're going to need to prepare a package to make this public. Or as public as we can make it.
But then what?
Well, we can carry on doing what we're doing, but if we leave something behind, at least.
In case something happens to us?
Well, either way. We need to get word out so people know what's happening here.
We keep getting mention of this Dr. Abore. He worked for the Proctor.
Yeah. Maybe he'll be at the Ellis Hospital, where all these things are headed next.
Now, doesn't he work for the aviation authority?
So if we were to go to Dr. Abore to mention that Dr. Wise sent us to inform him of a problem he's discovered with his own selections,
Yeah.
what could we gain from that? We know what's happening. We know when it's going to be finished. We have a very tight deadline to do whatever it is we think we can do. We go to the press, the outrage, how fast can this word spread before the sunburners come? And then none of this matters anyways.
I think that's why we can't just make it just directly public. but also, like, I don't think it's going to happen fast enough to make any difference with what we're dealing with right now.
Well, the problem is, they're here for a tithe, and if we don't pay it, people are going to die.
Maybe we should start the grapevine and then try and get them to spread it. If they can get it spread off-world, then it doesn't really matter how much it spreads here. They can't just snuff it out.
Whatever happens, they have to pay the tithe in 2.5 days. No matter, even if the people rebelled, it would make no difference. You're right, we have to get this information out. And I suppose that's when Zimmerman realized it's too late for us.
Perhaps we could somehow infiltrate the tithe ships under the guise of trying to resolve the problem. And even if we do that and somehow disrupt the tithe ships, the result would basically be the same. Unless the fault of the tithe ships issues could be blamed on the Infinite, or at least not seen by the Infinite as to be blamable upon us.
You have friends, Galen, that could get this information off planet, right?
Yeah, we can build a data packet and we can send it. Get that rolling. One thing we could potentially do if we want to try and sneak onto a tithe ship is, once we found the other pods, we could have a look here and see if we could jury-rig the pods with a time release.
And go in them ourselves?
Yeah, and then we can make sure we wake up on board. And then we can figure out what we want to do on that side. But we can follow this information trail and see where it goes. But that's an option if we do want to go on the ship. Rather than trying to, like, fly up ourselves, which probably would get shot down or worse, who knows.
Yeah.
We would need to convince somebody with the right access to allow us to get on board.
Well, that's what I was suggesting if we went in with the pods. They're expecting the pods to be taken on board.
Yeah.
They're not expecting the pods to wake up.
I agree with this plan, only if we bring Cliff with us.
He will play a part.
Of course he will.
I think he's done plenty.
I think he's first NPC to turn to PC when first PC dies.
I'm not dying first.
Well, okay. Based on my reputation, I guess that's my honor.
We've seen Cliffy in action.
Wow. Okay.
It'll be like an inverse game of like Paranoia, where you're trying to get someone else killed first,
You've
rather than trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
You're thinking of having this discussion, looking back through the cargo and seeing these blackened tubes. Each one of them, has got a body, a person, to be taken down to the Tanya Ellis Center. But so where are you headed as you rise up off the planet Starbay? You're basically heading back up into are you making a quick descent back onto the planet, back down to another location? What's your thought? Are you going to be holding? Are you going to be? What's your intention?
What would there be to be gained from Dr. Obori?
I mean, there wouldn't be any now. And I think Dr. Zimmerman would be of the opinion now that it's too late. There's not much that we can do.
But we can pass the name along, and whoever
we have
picks up
to
the slack, then the lead can
yeah, we have to get the information out.
I think as well, if we can find as many people who are responsible, we can add them. So people know who to follow, who to harass.
Yeah.
So we know that the guilty parties take the blame.
So we're gonna go to the we're gonna go to the press. We're gonna...
Maybe we'll probably find like some kind of like pirate radio broadcaster or something. That kind of thing, because I imagine that's probably more how what you'd have rather than like posters and whatnot like you would have.
What
these days.
information are you going to put in this package? What information are you going to put in there? It's you're in the ship, you're standing there, watching, looking back over these tubes. You might just remember and thinking about the implications of it. What's the package going to contain if that's the way you're going to do?
I mean, I think it's gonna contain information about the cryogenics research that's being done at Rogan Cormier.
Yeah,
the drug as well.
About the streptozine being used.
Yeah.
And that we've discovered that humans are now being shipped
Up as a tithe.
up to as a tithe.
And at least for the Volanthus packet, because I'm assuming we can make several different packets for different locations.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We get them to just ping it wherever they can, as fast as they can.
Put the names that we have.
We need a full list of people, like the stuff we found out about, like the one guy, as an example. The names of like the people we know that are sort of involved at different points of the process.
Yeah, so we named Dr. Abore, Dr. Wise, Dr. Minsk.
Oh, whistleblowing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any need to mention Cliff and his part in this.
No, because he didn't really know what was going on, did he? Go away, cat.
This is quite funny. We name drop him and he becomes like the unknown soldier, like the symbol of the revolution. And like in his life, he was never aware of this.
You know, he's going to
Great honor.
become the leader of the rebellion, or something, isn't he? Father of the rebellion is how it will go down. And so, and it's going to include these names that we have, and say we know there are more. We know there are many, many more.
Yeah.
You doing this in a kind of anonymous style where you've got
Well, now I was thinking.
voicing. How are you going to reduce? I mean, you're pretty exposed by all of this, so it's not that that you're thinking of doing this, but
No. Well,
And we only have to survive a couple
I
of
say,
days.
it doesn't matter, does it now? And I think Zimmerman will he's quite happy to put his name on that. In
Yeah.
fact, he would probably do the one presenting. He will say that I worked at this project, I did this, and explain the whole thing about these people disappearing.
yeah.
He knows he's not going to get his wife back now. He knows that the tithe has to happen, or the whole planet's going to be destroyed or whatever. So it doesn't matter to him anymore whether what happens to him. It's just we got to just warn everybody else.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so you're sitting there and you're having these thoughts. Passing across. Are you actually vocalizing? Are you talking?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, give it the human angle. I'll hold the camera.
Yeah, I'll be sitting there and I'm talking directly to the camera about, Dr. Zimmerman, I worked for Rogan Cormier for however long. I'm the head scientist of the cryogenic liquids division, etc., and explain the whole situation about the wife. I won't mention the other two. I'll just say there are some like-minded people that have also noticed that people have gone missing. And we've discovered that transport ships have been fitted out with this equipment.
Yeah,
we know that
some footage of the actual pods and the things and everything.
And we're just gonna name every fucker.
Yeah, just all the information we have that we can possibly share.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you prepare this package.
Yeah.
You add in.
I'm still going to try to convince Dr. Zimmerman, look, there's no reason to expose yourself on this. There's still so much work to do. And who knows what's going to be in the future. We could just change your voice, blur out some of the details.
We cut to like the video they actually get to be like, hello, my name is Dr. Clifford.
Exactly. My name is Dr. blah, blah, blah.
But
My name is Dr. blah blah.
But if I don't put my name to it. Sorry, I should just use my voice, shouldn't I? If I don't put my name to it, they could just say there were some crank, some conspiracy theorist.
I mean, they might anyway, but it's hard. Like,
Maybe.
someone's going to make sense of the data.
And it doesn't matter, because they already know about me, because I told Dr. Wise who I was.
Well, that's very brave. Maybe it'll be the ticket to keeping you alive, because if they get rid of you, then doesn't that just validate everything you say? Not a risk I'm willing to take, but I respect your decision, Doctor.
Like a conversation for like 20 minutes later, be like, Rufy, you think there's a bounty? Now that he sort of outed himself to the Doctor.
Yeah. Well, I'm already dead. I'm just going to open the airlock.
Okay, so this package, Galen, do you adapt it in any way, or do you let it go displaying the pods from your ship, Dr. Zimmerman? Do you include the data that's being given to you from Dr. Wise? You know, is that what you put together and begin to siphon out of your net, or do you actually do a little bit of tweaking so that it's not?
It's a little tweak. It's just a little bit at the end that says Galen Malavik was not involved in any of this.
I mean, obviously we're disguising whatever IP address transmission protocols to be that of coming out of, Corey's, data pad. We know that already.
It's a theory. We could have faked it to make it sound like it was coming from Dr. Wise.
Yeah, you should have that recording of him saying, Alexa, please secure room at whatever password he said with voice modulation, and then the entire conversation, give it a sense of legitimacy.
Okay. So, Galen, you're preparing this information. The ship is flying slowly. In which direction? Towards Tanya Ellis or not?
Yeah, I think so. Like, we'll probably curve the path a bit so we can get near to like a drop point, but like not too far. There's like an obvious detour.
And
then,
how does it go then? How does
yeah? Because we want to get to this center as well, just to find out more. Like, we'll drop off this info like on the way and transmit it by burst transmission.
Okay, so tight beam type thing to
to make sure it doesn't. Yeah.
And you get a response back from one of your network who is unknown to you. You obviously anonymity is a key part of this, but you know that this is trusted network that you're on, and it flies under the radar of the authorities. And you get shit. Are you sure?
100%.
And then just shit back again with a couple of exclamation marks. This is
bad news. All around.
Yeah, it's just text kind of transmission and encoded in the speak that you guys use. And it's like, say that again and repeat. Where do you want this? Sent.
Everywhere.
We need to get it everywhere and off planet as fast as possible, so they can't stop the source. Everyone needs to know what's happening here, in case they try and do it somewhere like elsewhere.
Yeah, and then you just get the message back. Done.
And signing off. Maybe we'll see you in a few days. Maybe not.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think Hagen's seen Donnie Mnemonic.
So you
Serenity.
basically at that point you get a ping from the super in the residencies in the space elevator, the one that helps you to get things to where they need to be. And he just it comes through. He's like, accept this, accept. You see it flashing up in the ship.
Super from.
What does it say? It's like the handler coordinator guy that I deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you supply him with some things that he then passes on and makes a tidy sum on
to
the
the less
side from it.
fortunate,
Thank you very much. But still, and
What's the word?
hey, listen, tell me I'm wrong, Galen. Tell me I didn't just see your ship.
What do you mean?
That Zimmerman, that guy, he just came up and said that they're sending bodies up in Tithe. That containers, those things,
yes.
that's like what they had in your ship. That's what was fitted in your ship, right?
Yeah, that's us.
You are. He says, "Fuck, man, what have you done?"
We've done nothing. We've just been digging and found some real shit going down.
Listen, if any of this comes back to me, I'm going to find you and I'm going to haunt you. You realize
Well, maybe you
that, right?
shouldn't have watched it and then reached out immediately afterwards asking about it on a public broadcast. Oh my god.
Your channel. Don't worry. We're on the network.
Alright.
He says, still, if the Infinite get wind of this, it doesn't matter, eh? We've all thought about it. Stay safe. If you need a place to hide, you know where
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah, they say it's going to get a bit hairy over the next couple of days, but maybe we'll see you on the flip side. Or being.
Signal just disappears.
I will resume course for the Anya Ellis Center. Buckle up,
Okay.
Dorothy. Let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
And you fly into the vicinity, and once again, your aftermarket detectors on the side of the ship register the extra heat signals that are being directed at your ship, suggesting, of course, that there's a number of security systems which are now trained on you as you begin your descent down into these vast landing pads and back into the loading center, the base. This is a giant star-shaped building. It's only about 40 or so stories tall, and it sits in this massive empty space. It's so exuberant. It's just so unnecessarily taking up this vast space. But the part you're going to at least has some function, and it's the loading bays. You land down. You're contacted by the flight control, and they give you your designation. It pings up on your ship. And you make your way down. Are you going to land immediately, just as directed?
Yeah, don't want to raise any alarms.
Yeah. And you land on the ship, and your comms spark in. And At this point, you hear a voice that you don't recognize.
It's his wife.
And it says, you have the cargo as requested. Pods numbers 1 through 20 ready for extraction. Please make your preparations to have our systems board and accompany the pods through to the sea warehouse. It'll be marked up, coordinates marked up now. Wait, what? And just goes black. The comms cut out.
That's unusual. Let's proceed as instructed. Maybe
Okay.
something's kicking off in the control room.
So, in a matter of minutes, your outside cameras on the ship show the hover container with a rather grumpy-looking operator at the front of it.
He's doing double shift now.
Exactly. He's been looking for Cliff for hours.
And he floats in on the gravitonic through into the space at the back of your ship, and where the cargo bay will load down, where he's expecting to take this.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looks. I guess you've got the cargo bay down, and he looks up and says, "All right, then. That was it. Well done, contractors. You've managed to deliver. You're gonna want to come in. You've been requested to speak with the brass. They want a word with you."
Wonderful. That's because we're the first to arrive and everyone else is still probably going to turn up in the next several hours.
No, everybody else has done like 4 or 5 runs, and we just arrived with one.
Hey, we're contracted.
We're paid
You want
by
us
the
to do,
hour.
if you want us, yeah, if you want
We're
us
paid by
to
the
do more runs, yeah. Paid by the minute. This is the future. You see my energy bills.
So you begin to uncouple each of the pods, knowing exactly fine well what's inside them. The system shows that the tanks are all empty. You'll need a refuel if you were to do more of these, but I don't know if that's your intention or not. But certainly the little hover platforms that they're on allows you to push them back in. And this guy helps you. He's a fairly broad-looking lad, relatively young. He's got short cropped hair. He's wearing the telltale sign of the Tanyalis Ground Crew. Got the grey with the orange stripes. And he's just doing it. He's just pushing them on, locking them in, making sure that everything's right. And he says, "Right then, you better follow me then, I guess."
Yep. We're just going to hook the thing up to fuel so we're ready to go for the next run. But yeah, we ride with you.
And okay, so you begin to send that down to
It's better to have it.
the
Yeah, it's
landing
better to
pad.
have. Yeah, it's better to have it like refueling while we're out, in case we need
Yes.
to go somewhere.
Yeah, the landing pad. You know that it's been set up to do that, so the coupling happens between the ship and the pad, and it takes in the new chemicals in all of the tanks that you need to handle these containers. And yeah, you watch this vast platform float around the corner and into warehouse C, where previously you found the rec room, and the kind of lab that had the giver of a key that allowed you to open this. And as before, the platform moves into this vast warehouse, but then turns off to the left. Whereas you know that if you're going up the rec room, you're off to the right. And the door, as this machine approaches the door, this big hangar door opens, and just dissolves into the air as the platform passes through. Now you have an opportunity here to do whatever you like as you're standing in. You've got a branch opportunities here. I don't know what you want to do. There's the rec room where you've been indicated to go. You've got the door with the somewhat friendly science type lady in the back, and you've got this corridor that the hover machine has just gone down. So yeah, for this you've got.
Maybe we could see if we could find that technician again that we got the key from. It might be prudent to try to get it back to her.
Yeah. I was also worried about, like, disembarking Cliff.
No. Cliff's not going nowhere. He's staying with us.
Well, not if we go somewhere else and he's stuck on the ship.
He's been press ganged.
He's in the, like stealth, like, storage area of the ship under the... Like, no one's ever going to find him. What if he forgets about the exit button?
So, yeah, you're standing in the doorway of this massive warehouse, and at this point, as you're just chatting, the machine passes into the large corridor, and the iris closes again behind it. The wall just solidifies behind it as it passes through, and then you walk over and up the walkway to that room, and you look around. And you see the same lady who spoke to you and who got in trouble for speaking to you. She looks round at you, and she sees you, and her face just goes white. She immediately pulls down all the windows that she was working in. All the screens and stuff. She takes off her visor, her headset, and strides out down the corridor. You see the door at the end open, and she strides over to you. And as she's walking up towards you, she says, "We don't have long. We only have." You're good. You have been requested to do another run. The brass are going to talk to you. The senior manager is going to be down.
Why does it take a senior manager to tell us to do another run?
They want you. They're going to ask you to stay. They want you to help crew the Tithe run. You can't. You know what they're doing. You know what this means for you, yes? Don't go up there. Did you find what I thought? Did you find what?
Yes, we found it.
We have the list.
Part of one.
Why? Why are they doing this now? Why people? What's going on?
There's been a collapse. We were due to send our usual tithe, the platinum, zirconium, zinc, and the metals, the stones. That's what we do. There was a collapse. We lost our entire northern mining operation. The planet didn't have the yield that it should. It just didn't have it. The last 3 years they've been pulling up nothing but rock. Tithe rock. Something had to be done. I had to think of something. So, this is what they came up with. It's wrong. It's wrong. But what can we do? Listen, what we've seen is part of it, but I need to go. I can't talk.
We have to stop this, though. Today, it's these people here that are being processed. Tomorrow, it's you and me. We can't let this happen.
But you can't go up to the ship. If you go up to the ship, then you will not come back. Don't accept. You're contractors. I've seen your files. Don't accept. You don't have to. Don't go up. Find a way to stop it. Find something.
Is that the deal? That anybody that's going up to the ship is also going to be part of the tithe tomorrow?
He just looks at you. And nods.
Thanks for the warning.
I can't do anything more. I have to leave. I can't be part of this anymore. I've done all I can. She takes off her jacket and she takes off the wrist projector type things that she has, and she just basically drops the stuff.
Will they just let you leave? You know too much.
I can't stay here. I'll take my chances. And she picks up the stuff that she's dropped and she walks over into the rec room and finds it's an incinerator and it just evaporates. And you see her more or less in her civvies. She's out of her grey clothes, and she walks down the stairs, down the ramp, out to the wide door that's opened up to let you guys in. She takes. You see her just walking out over these large pads and across to the much distance that she has to be able to clear in order to get to the buildings. This is a vast campus, and much of it is just vast slabs of stone. There's nothing there. The star-shaped building continues, and she just walks. You're talking, and the stuff. Yeah, you're just looking around, and so what are you doing? As she.
Well, you wanted to get up to the tithe ship, Galen. Maybe that's your chance.
Sorry, was that?
You wanted to get up to the tithe ship.
Yeah. We might be able to do more there if we can avoid whatever is waiting for us. Maybe we can get some info out of these middle manager types. What the next step is after we take them up there.
And as you say that, you get yourself a drink. The door opens, and out walks an obvious high official of the Tanya Ellis Center, and walks up to you, holding some sort of data pad, looking officious, and walks up to you. A man with side-combed hair over a bald spot, fairly elderly, walks up. Thank you for your work today, bringing us these tithes. Thank you. I have a job for you. Another
What kind
one.
of job?
Contracting delivery. Well paid.
You want more of these things brought here?
No, we are done for now. What I would like to see from you is just 3 days of your time. You must help us to deliver another set, different vehicle. You will not require your own ship for this. You will use one of ours. We require you to fly the tithe from this center to the ship that is in orbit around Valantia. You must do this. It is exceptionally well paid. And we will keep you here with us. You can stay in the center. We will provide you food and board. Must be ready at a moment's notice. That is why you must be here. The contract is being beamed to you now. You
What
must read
happens
that.
once we've done the delivery?
Look at what we are paying you. You will be very wealthy, of course. The tithes of significant importance to us all, and nothing is spared in the expense to deliver it.
I'll have a look at that contract. Just see if that mentions like what happens like after delivery.
Yeah, contract.
Read all the
A
fine
small print.
Yeah, small print all checks out. It looks like a
Can I get
standard
that as a
contract
handout,
delivery.
please?
You do not need to tell us immediately, but I will require an answer. The door is there, but please review remuneration for this. It is vast, and I am sure we'll see your ships and your business in good stead for some time.
Right, we'll sleep on it. Let you know.
I am afraid that is not
It's
acceptable.
a tenor phrase.
Please, if you wish to join, accept this contract on behalf of your crew.
Alright, I just need a brief moment to discuss this with my subordinate.
Understood.
I have a look around to see if I can see any.
Oh, you dropped your glasses.
I'm
I'll
wondering
point
how
to like
much.
I'll point to the nearest reflective surface.
I'm just wondering how much my 3% share of the total that you're going to give me comes out to in the end.
For you, 3,000 credit.
He wanders off. I will return in good time. Just signal me when you are the.
Will do.
Yeah, we'll signal you all right.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, if we sign the contract, it's definitely gonna be a one-way trip. Though on the plus side, you would have a ship with like all of the tithe. In one place.
Is it one tide ship that goes, or is it multiple? Do we know
Well, I
that?
see, like everyone from this facility is in one ship by the sounds of things, and everyone's coming here. I mean, if we can either go up there and see if we can do something on the tithe ship, or you can just take the tithe and just book it and hope for the best.
Go start a new life somewhere else with all these
Yeah.
sick, old, and dying people.
But they're the start of the resistance. We unfreeze them all.
Yeah.
I could treat
Yeah.
some of them. Some of these diseases are very treatable today. And
Yeah.
we have the beginning of our...
The resistance lasted
of
for
the
15 years
rebellion.
before everyone was too feeble to participate.
Yeah.
The only one issue is how do we sneak Cliff off our ship and get him on the tithe ship while he's still sleeping?
I suspect if we say yes to this contract, we're not going back to our ship.
Correct. Exactly. So we got to take care of that. The loose end. I don't like loose ends.
Look, what happens?
I mean, he's not much of a loose end. He's been unconscious for like the majority of anything happening. He doesn't know anything.
Even if we can get up to the tithe ship and we can do anything, what then?
We can't save anybody from down here.
We can't save anybody from down. Well, wait, we can't. They're just gonna send another ship if somehow you're able to disable that one, which I doubt.
Galen is resourceful at hiding things and moving things from one place to the other.
That's
Maybe
quite
he
a
can
big
hide
thing to hide.
20,000 people.
I was gonna say maybe you can hide the tithe ship.
I mean, there's always a chance that maybe like their ship will be a bit more advanced, so we could do more with it. Like we could maybe you could take it, and then we could always try and like I don't know, you could try and like defrost everyone en masse, and then just make for like the rings might make good cover. Some way you can drop people off and just get everyone to just scatter. I don't know.
Maybe we could disguise the ship as a rebel base. Well, that won't do.
No, well, we're in it. Like a rebel base has literally just appeared, right?
I think it might bear to scour systems to see if there's any place that we could hide this ship. Or a habitable planet to colonize that's outside of the view of the infinite.
Look,
The infinite view of the infinite.
you heard Dr. Wise. All of these people, they're sick, or they're dying, or they're infirm.
Some of them were treatable. There was a lack of will. They made excuses.
Yeah, they consider them not worth saving rather than...
Dr.
they were
Zimmerman,
end
you
of
weren't
life.
aware of anything that was wrong with your wife. You surely would have known.
My point is, you hide these few thousand people, and the Infinite just destroy everybody else here? Is that a trade you're willing to make?
What happens in future years when mines don't produce the platinum that is needed for the tithe? Or
It
planets
sounds
don't
like their
have the
minds are
resources?
screwed already.
You didn't answer my question.
What was the question?
Is it a trade you're willing to make? These few thousand infirm and dying people for everybody down there.
I think we need to look at all of our options.
I don't even believe they're all infirm and dying. I believe they're trying to
Buffet,
make
it
the best
doesn't matter.
decisions that they
It
can.
doesn't matter.
But
There's only 20,000 of these people.
I think potentially if we can get onto the tithe ship and do something to the tithe ship, we could probably achieve something more and safer for this world. I think if anything goes wrong before that point of the stuff being loaded onto the tithe ship, I think everyone here is basically screwed.
You're right.
Whatever we do, one way or the other, they're all screwed.
so this ship will be a stepping stone to getting to the final tithe ship.
And I reckon if we find a way to sabotage it or whatever, then that's nothing to do with the people down there. So it won't be their problem.
Until Dr. Zimmerman's video gets popularized.
You're like walking down like the tie ship, and there's like this one random little like stormtrooper guards like, wait a second, you're the guy from the video.
I have your autograph.
Selfie. Okay.
We accept the job.
We're gonna accept the job.
We take the ship. We take the ties. We hope that we can find some way to stop them taking these people.
It's our best and only hope.
So this could be one of those adventures where we're like, okay, we're gonna go to the next step to find out how we're gonna stop this from happening. And now we're on the tie ship. Now we need to go where the tie ship is going, so we know how.
Yeah,
It's always gonna be like the next step will be the actual solution.
We've only
Just
got
keep
5
going.
episodes. It won't go.
Now we gotta process
Yeah.
the human beings into raw
We
materials.
just
See
need
what-
to get to the center of the universe,
Exactly.
and then we'll be able to stop everything.
So you say that you accept, and you transmit that to the Taniela Center, and so as soon as you transmit that, the outside doors of the warehouse lock down. They just merge over. You see variously like camouflage forming into a solid color, and then that's it. And you're in this unnaturally lit giant warehouse, and the door. You get security clearance. All transmitted to each of you. And through your visor, through your device, you see that it pings open a projection of the path that you're now being expected to take. And you walk through that door where you were originally given that key, into this corridor. As you follow the path that's been allocated to you, and the hologram is indicating which routes. And as you go past doors that you're not supposed to, you're protected with just arrows and chevrons just leading you on, and you're shepherded quite deep down one of the stars into a lift. The eventual destination on this floor is a lift. And there's no physical barrier stopping you going left or right at this point. It's just the holograms are projecting the right way to go. And then you step into the lift, yeah?
Yep.
And it's an elevator that takes you up about 15 floors. So you're about midpoint of the building, you reckon, knowing that it's not a particularly tall building. And the lift door opens, and on either side there's a walkway with glass windows, and your indicators, the holograms, telling you to walk down this. And as you do, you walk out, and the doors, so the windows, the glass, immediately becomes transparent, and you just see rows upon rows upon rows of these black containers on either side, held up on stems with cables and pipes connecting. There's just absolutely hundreds of them, and at the far end of that, you see some loading mechanisms just picking up one of these containers, moving it down, and then dropping it onto a loading belt, and it just disappears off into a part of the building that you can't see. And you're just walking along here, looking at this happening. And at the end of the corridor is somebody that Dr. Zimmerman recognizes.
Yes,
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it. I've been waiting for this.
Dr.
It's your
Zimmerman,
half brother.
your wife is standing at the end of the corridor, and she looks at you, and says, "What have you done?"
That's gotta be the end. That's gotta be
And
the cliffhanger.
that's the cliffhanger.